Hi guys, welcome back. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We are everywhere: Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You guys know it's the same thing every single week. Today we covered Trump's comments on the waging war against the cartels, Gavin Newsom gearing up for a presidential run, the chaos of immigration and crime in California, the scammers living off taxpayers, corruption in California's institutions, and the latest controversies surrounding Mamdani. Trump on war against the cartels. They're gonna be, dead.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be dead. Okay?
You guys, the greatest comedian of our time, Mr. Donald Trump. What a great, clear answer. It's nice to see someone cracking down on that finally. So, basically, if you're going to be a cartel and bring in drugs into our country, which kill innocent Americans, you're going to be, dead. We love to see it and hear it. We have Newsom running for president. We have a video of Gavin Newsom confirming he is preparing to run for president in 2028. I fear that we all potentially saw this coming.
This guy might run for president.
I have no idea. The idea that a guy who got 960 on his SAT that still struggles to read scripts, that was always in the back of the classroom, the idea that you even throw that out is in and of itself extraordinary. Who the hell knows? I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028 and who meets that moment. And that's the question for the American people.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying. And I can't do that.
Oh, well, God, he could never lie, you guys. That is one thing he will not do. So the person who's ranked number one in pretty much everything negative you could be ranked in California, I live here, I know what hell it is. So after ruining San Francisco and ruining California, especially Los Angeles, he's then going to run for president to attempt to ruin the rest of the country. One thing about him is, obviously, with his track record in California, I cannot imagine that he would get votes besides just being an anti-Trump Democrat. That alone will get him a lot of votes. But I can't say that he would be able to debate someone like J.D. Vance, for example, extremely intelligent, great track record, about how bad California is and really win that. So I don't know if this is, look, they're going to throw out anyone they can, but I would say when we're talking Republicans for 2028, we have a lot of great options, and these people are smart, they're good at debating, and they have good track records. He does not. Most people, like me, think he is the Antichrist. Newsom acting like he had a tough childhood in a video.
But also, it was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
hey, it's like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on.
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, man, bro. Are you talking about me?
Young YG.
YG, man.
Every day in the backyard, just bouncing the basketball, throwing the ball against the wall until the ball is just like fraying, man. And your arms yourself. That's it. Whole thing. So just, and then, then this student that was shitty student is in the back with his head down, all of a sudden started throwing the baseball a little faster than everyone else. And started, make a few free throws because I was sitting there practicing 500 of them every damn night. And in high school, I look up in the stands, my dad's back up there.
Okay, dope.
And it's like, man. And then he's bringing his friends, and you're captain of the team, and you're like, geez, and it just saved me, and it got me into college.
Do you notice that when they talk to their voter base, they seem to start speaking a little bit ghetto, and they kind of purposely act more dumb. I don't know if it's to be related. We see Kamala do it. She had the black ghetto accent, then she had the Jamaica accent. But it's as soon as they start talking their voter base, they become kind of ghetto and stupid. I think maybe that's to make them relatable. So whatever. I did a little research on, ChatGPT, whatever it is, last night. So Newsom's mom was a secretary, paralegal, waitress, bookkeeper, real estate agent. controller for the family business. So maybe she worked multiple jobs, and that is correct. Might I add, though, those are all very good jobs. She wasn't slinging EBT in the hood. His dad, as a judge of the California Courts Appeal, blah, blah. His dad was a lawyer and judge for the California Court of Appeal and the Getty Trust Administrator. So roughly around then, that salary was $280,000 a year. In addition, he could have got 2% a year income from the Getty. I mean, the Getty's worth like billions of dollars. So I would not consider him from a poor middle-class family. That sounds like upper middle class. We have a photo from Spencer Pratt of Newsom looking for Wonder Bread coupons. So he was voted most stylish. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He kind of ate in this photo. But he's wearing a Burberry scarf. He looks like he has a nice tailored jacket on. He looks like a very, very cool he looks like a New York like trust fund kid socialite. So from what he says, it's not really matching the image we have here. He made it seem like he was like the poor version of Malibu's Most Wanted, and I don't think that's what we're seeing here. So we also have another image. The tagline on this photo literally says, "Children of the rich." Here's the thing, you guys. He looks like, oh God, why am I blanking? Patrick Bateman right there. That's what he looks like. So this is the funny thing. They know their audience is stupid. So anyone who's like, oh, I would never lie, even though everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. He's a Democrat and a politician. Of course it is. So a simple, of course, now all these things are coming out about how he lied. And I'm like, does that photo look like he was struggling? He made it seem like his dad wasn't around. His mom worked 4 jobs. They live in the hood. He couldn't afford nice clothing. And I'm like, he looks pretty good to me. So once again, a lie. But you know what? The only people that care will be conservatives, Republicans, maybe independents. His voter base won't care. They'll be like, oh, he was from the streets. How can we continue to not support this man that has ruined everything here? So we have immigration and crime. We have an image. Dude, these names that I get every week are so, how do you expect me to say this? Jashanpreet Singh, suspected DUI killer of 3 on the I-10 in California, was an Indian illegal alien caught and released by Biden's DHS in 2022. When I saw this video, first of all, my dad has to drive out there, so when I saw this, I immediately called him and was like, please, God, tell me you are safe, you are not on the roads. This is insane. So led in during what? Biden administration, as were millions of other people. And, Indian, illegal. If you guys haven't seen the video of this, it's like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Didn't even hit the brakes, just crashed and killed a bunch of Americans who were probably legal citizens. So we have a video, more on him.
On October 22nd, ICE lodged an immigration detainer for this individual following his arrest by local authorities in California on charges, as you know, of manslaughter while intoxicated and driving under the influence. He killed 3 people, and he first entered the United States in 2022. Through the southern border, and he was released into our country by the previous administration. So now ICE has lodged a separate detainer for this individual, and these tragedies are following a disturbing pattern of these criminal illegal aliens being issued commercial vehicle licenses. And so, yes, the Department of Transportation is absolutely cracking down on that. I defer you to them for any specifics.
Okay, so we need to point out, previous episode was same last name, don't know if they're related. It was Harjinder Singh. They probably are. And so he killed people while driving, correct? That was the one where he was an illegal, crashed another car, killed them, and they were also illegal. And I was like, that's the most American story I've ever heard. Also, that's what we call 2 negatives. Sometimes do make positive. It really depends how you look on it. So he's illegally here. And then he's drunk driving. First of all, aren't these licenses very difficult to get? You have to get so I'm like, wait, he's illegally here, got a driver's license, then was able to get let's call it a trucking license, which has to be pretty difficult considering that's extremely dangerous. And then he was drunk, had a little too much of the lassie that day, and then crashed and killed people. So that's good. There's a lot of these. So I guess at this point, if you're on the road and you see a semi and they look Indian, you should probably drive fast and get the out of the way. So that would be Emily Saves America's advice to you. So Newsom gave 62,000 commercial driver's licenses to illegals.
A federal audit found California had issued 62,000 CDLs, drivers who entered illegally, John, or do not have a permanent legal status as required by the feds. California sanctuary laws prohibit asking applicants their immigration status. Governor Newsom said there's not a problem. Back to you.
Did I hear you right? Did you say 62,000?
That's correct.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a federal audit.
William Langeness for us. William, thank you so much. Let's bring in the...
I don't know why that guy's reaction was really funny to me. I can't explain why. He looks like he just want to be like, holy shit, 62,000? So wait, let me get this straight. Gavin Newsom was like, no. It's probably racist to ask them their immigration status. Dude, you guys, people are coming from other countries where it's not all our culture, it's not our language, they're not used to driving here, they probably can't read. They also, I can't imagine, he's drunk. And I'm just like, you think that we should... Also, I was told by Democrats once again that none of this is happening. I was told that they're all great people, that none of them are criminals. Americans are so much worse. We're all apparently legally more in shit than they are. And they're not voting in our elections. They're not becoming school teachers who molest kids for $200,000 a year. I was told none of this is happening. 62,000 commercial driver's license to illegals. 62,000 of these people on the road. I'm actually shocked with that number that there's not more of these accidents happening, but I guarantee we're going to see more happening. God, it's really easy, you guys. All you have to do is vote different. It's genuinely that easy at this point. So we have more on the illegal truck driver case. OG guy Harinder Singh, this is what we were talking about. As we continue our investigation in California, Washington, Harinder Singh, we learned that he failed his written exam 10 times, you guys. He took the behind-the-wheel training course at a private school in Washington. Well, if it's Washington with liberals, they probably just passed him immediately. So he failed the written exam for this 10 times. So he probably can't read, can't really figure out how to drive a semi-truck. Once again, here's the thing about this when they act like this is some freak incident. And this is the issue we see every week on the show with criminals that are like, oh, dude, I tried to kill someone 35 times, but we'll let him back on the street. It's like these things can actually be prevented, which is the most frustrating part. When I argue with Democrats about these things, and they're like, did you actually know that statistically, Americans commit more crimes than illegals? I'm like, shut the f*** up. It's not even a real argument. No, we don't. I'm not a criminal. No one I know is a criminal, okay? By entering this country, you're already a criminal. I go, look, common sense is I can't do anything about Americans. I can't really stop them. I think we need harsher crimes. I think that would help. But when illegals come here, and these things happen, these are deaths that could have been avoided. And that is very important, and that's the message we need to get across. I can't be worrying about Americans. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. I believe in harsher punishments. All these stories could be avoided. They could be avoided. He shouldn't even be in the country. Failing 10 times? So wait, I'm sorry, can you just fail 100 times and at the end of it, they'll be like, yeah, sure. Here's a semi-truck. Go forth, my son, Harjin Singh. Absolutely insane. So we have an image, criminal, illegal alien, well, they're all criminals, rammed into federal agents, leading to gunfire during an arrest operation. Oh, good. More doctors and lawyers. So this is a screenshot we have about this. So they pulled the illegal alien over in a standard procedure, as one does, and he weaponized his vehicle and began ramming into them and attempting to flee. Okay, so he was shot in the elbow and one enforcement was shot in the hand by a ricochet bullet. Both are in the hospital. Why would they shoot him in the elbow? Why don't they just shoot him in the head? I don't even understand. That's kind of insane. So that's good. So once again, these are more doctors and lawyers that are coming here for a better life, and they're totally not attempting to kill innocent Americans. So the media is labeling illegal immigrants who commit crimes as white when they're clearly not. Wow, you guys, I'm telling you, if you've been following me on Instagram, I have been posting about this for a very long time. And finally, Elon Musk has also chimed in saying, common sense, I want to know if, because obviously they're labeling black, Mexican, whatever, they're labeling them white. And he was like, I want to know if the reverse is happening We all know it's not. And he goes, if it's not, then this is very serious. This is manipulating crime statistics. And like, look, the thing is, we know why they're doing that. That's like when you argue with liberals, they'll be like, oh, actually, white people commit like more crimes, and actually, no, you guys. Well, what do you expect when everyone's labeled as white? This is insane. Do those guys look white to you? Also, look at the last name. Okay, what are the? I don't even know how to pronounce these. Which ones are the last names? Francisco or the Lopez? Which one's last? Last first? Okay, Lopez. Dominguez. Ruiz, Flores. Do those sound like white last names to you? Probably not. That is a huge, huge issue. I guarantee you they're not like labeling white dudes black or Mexican or Asian. You will see more of this. Mark my words. I've been talking about this for a long time. That's why you got to follow on the IG. It's all in the stories because this is a hard post feed right now. On TikTok, a woman bragging about starting 15 hours of community service to keep her food stamps.
So guess what I'm doing for the first time in 12 years, okay? I am getting up, I'm ready, did my hair, took my shower, brushed my teeth, and I'm going to do my community service hours. Why community service hours, do you ask? Because they told me in order to keep my food stamps, I would have to do 15 hours of community service per week. That's at minimum. I can do more if I want to, which I probably will because I don't have anything else going on. And my kids are in daycare since I qualified for subsidized childcare. So I'm going to do my 15 hours or more. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how I like it at the place where I'm volunteering. But anyways, this is just until I get an actual full-time job because they don't just let you stay in community service for as long as you want. You have to like find employment or go to school. So.
Okay, so let me get this straight. She's been not working for 12 years. Okay, 12 years. She also said 15 hours a week. I work 15 hours a day. 7 days a week. So she's like, whoa, haven't worked in 12 years. 15 hours a week. Don't know how I'm going to do this. While her kids are in daycare, which also we pay for. And I'm like, so the kids went to daycare and you were still like, no, still not going to work. I don't even know what you do with all this free time. I don't even think that's a happy, enjoyable life. She's really upset about the community service. God forbid, you give back to the community. And this is all she has to do to keep food stamps, not realizing that it's people that work that have to pay for that. These are like when I see all the people on the left screaming about how these like poor people that work 9 jobs and can't get, well, first of all, if you're poor, you shouldn't have kids. Sorry. I am the most like anti-poor people having kids. That is the craziest thing in the world to me. And most of them do it just so we can pay for it. And that's why half of them have 9 baby daddies and don't have to work and are, on Carnival Cruise every month. And I'm like, so we get to work full time so she can chill. 12 years? 12? I thought food stamps were supposed to be like if you had a hard time for a couple months. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God, it's these people, they work so hard and America's so unfair. She hasn't worked in 12 years. How is that even like legally allowed to happen? And I'm like, oh, good. And then she's like, I might do more. I don't know. I'm bored. And I'm like, oh, have you thought about a job? Maybe that would take you out of the boredom that you're in. So yeah, these are the people that Trump is hopefully gonna kick off. I mean, this is like insane to me. I'm like, oh good, I'm glad I work hard so she can sit at home and she's not even taking care of her kids. That's the craziest part about it. We have another EBT user. I like that.
Yeah, I told y'all, with or without EBT, me and mine gonna eat.
Clock it. Of course.
Oh, cuz now. We gonna eat.
What do we call them? The usual suspects. Always, what is it? Always offended, never ashamed. This is good. By the way, let's look at that basket. Not a lot of fruits and vegetables in there. I see, what is that? Some sort of Mountain Dew, chips, probably Pringles, Cheetos. I don't know. I mean, that told, I like the who put the Halloween like font for this? Told y'all we gonna eat. It's like Halloween edition. Yeah, no, that's supposed to be for hungry people. As you could tell by looking at her, she has not missed a meal. She has been on these food stamps for a long time. And then, the kids, they seem, the ones doing like, I think he's doing like gang gun signs. I didn't even realize is the guy in the back with them, or is he just also part of the community? I'm kind of shocked she has crystals on her neck. That's usually kind of like a liberal wellness thing. And a lot of the people with the EBT stuff will have, like, she's got braids. A lot of them will have designer clothing on. I'm sure the kid has new sneakers. I'm actually shocked. A lot of the usual suspects are just filming themselves going into Walmarts, and they're just eating the food there. They're like, oh, we're just stealing now. So yeah, this is what we're going to call EBT users. I like that. I think that's a very polite way. Yeah, we gon' eat good today, Trump. You ain't gonna stop us. Newsom admits he has been giving free healthcare to illegals for 22 years. Fantastic.
I did universal health care when I was mayor, fully implemented, regardless of pre-existing condition, ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. San Francisco is the only universal health care plan for all undocumented residents in America. I'm very proud of that.
Very proud of that. I don't understand the healthcare for illegals. And it's even more confusing because I've paid for my own healthcare for a very long time. My dad always taught me, you work, the first thing you pay for is health insurance, no matter what. That's the only thing you actually need. You don't need a car. You can walk, you can take a bus. Obviously, smart man was raised somewhat properly. But I don't understand. I see Democrats complaining about the price of health insurance and how insane it is, and they want health care for everyone. And I'm like, well, don't you think if we weren't giving health care to illegals who do nothing but drain our systems, then maybe you could get insurance for yourself and it wouldn't be crazy out of control? But I'm like, I don't get it. I pay a decent amount, but it's nothing crazy. If you make just even a very low amount of money, you can afford health insurance. If you can afford to give it to illegals, you should be able to afford it for yourself, if that's what you're going to vote for. So I want to know how 2 illegals with 3 kids own a home while holding $133,000 in bad debt, not tied to any assets.
You guys also have that. How much debt you guys have? Oh,
yeah.
Over $100,000 of debt. That's not even the house. Literally. Wow, $130,000 of debt that is not the house.
How do we get illegals on my show that will come in and talk about their finances? They know I'd be calling ICE the second they leave this studio. There's no way. So we have illegals. First of all, I don't understand. How are you on a podcast if you're illegal? Are you not like worried about anything? Are we this relaxed here? So they have 3 kids. 3 kids, they own a home. Do you own a home? Do you own a home and can you afford 3 kids? While holding $133,000 in debt, not tied to assets. So I assume that's not a house, a mortgage, an apartment building. It's nothing like that. I assume that's just living expenses. And somehow they're able to afford the worst clothing I've ever seen on a podcast in my life. I don't even understand where you would find these outfits, and the gray hair is insane. And they're just like, yeah, just on a podcast today, hanging out, going into more debt. They'll probably just end up leaving the country and somehow we'll end up paying this. So an illegal mother claiming she is 29 to qualify for DACA while having a 17-year-old son. Okay, so important to know that she's claiming to be 29. She looks 45, so she can qualify for DACA while she has a 17-year-old son. She's actually 35. There, I was more on point. She's being coached on how to break our laws. I'm sure she is. I see Democrat lawyers on TikTok telling people how to break our laws every day. To meet the requirements, you must have been under 31 years of age. Okay, initial applications, blah, blah, blah. So, once again, how do 2 illegals with 3 kids own a home and have this much debt? I don't know, you guys. Once again, you're complaining about how you can't afford things. Okay, how about this? How do they afford these things? I think this is a much crazier question than how do American citizens not be able to afford it? Do you think maybe this is looped into that and this is potentially why? And it's also like, they're not even working. They're on a podcast bragging about all the stuff they have and debt they have. That is insane. No fear. No fear at all. I don't know. I've seen this. This is going very viral. I've seen it all over TikTok and Instagram and everything. And I'm like, I think this is starting to piss people off as they can't really afford a lot. So we have babies and children discovered in Oakland drug encampments.
I've seen now several children staying in this encampment behind me, living in trash. Oakland PD was called to assess the situation. Officer, I just couldn't believe it. I'm glad you're here, but we just saw a child there. You guys were talking to a child. Is everything okay?
There's people, there's whole families, there's adults, there's juveniles, there's pets.
There are kids living out here.
Yes, there's kids living in RVs.
So why isn't, like, the state called in to get the kids out of here?
I don't have all those answers for you, all right?
Okay.
I can do it for you, sir?
No, but I just want to make, this child's not being
she's
abused.
reunited with their mother.
Okay, child got lost?
No, she's not. She's with the mom.
Okay. You've got a mom and her child. How old's your baby?
He is almost 2 months actually. You're
Got
a
it.
month now. Yeah.
And you've been living out here with the baby for how long?
For a minute now.
So all of the billions and billions and billions of dollars we put into homeless, and this is what it looks like. So you should definitely vote for Gavin Newsom for president. Think about how crazy, if you're normal, you probably talk to a lot of people. And one of the reasons they don't want to have kids is because the price and affordability of everything. And I'm not one to scold at that, as most Republicans will. I think that is extremely fair. And then you're like, oh, but this woman has a baby. How can, like, I see homeless people with babies, meth heads, crackheads. I'm like, yeah, because you guys realize that they get help for everything. We don't get help. We're just told by Democrats, live in an apartment and we're going to put bugs in all your food and you're not going to reproduce. And even if you do, we're going to make your kid trans and you're never going to own anything and you'll be happy. Meanwhile, it's actually more beneficial to go be a crackhead and have a kid while being homeless. They'll actually take care of your kids. So where's all of our money going? Why is a random Asian guy going down here to film this? Where are all the politicians? Where are all the people making six-figure salaries? I said years ago, there was a black woman no one's ever heard of, and she's like, I'm the head of the homeless committee. She made like $600,000 a year. Where's she? I don't see any of those people that have anything to do with homeless ever actually down here doing anything or making it better. And also, there's children, which means there's trafficking involved, which California loves and Democrats love because they make tons of money, and I'm sure they allow all this to happen. So yeah, we should definitely make him the president of the United States because it looks really nice here. This is what downtown LA looks like. So we have California spends $140 million to prop up Planned Parenthood. What does it mean, prop up, though? That's what I'm like, what? Like, I guess to support Planned Parenthood? They're like, hey, sorry your house burned to the ground. Sorry elderly people were burned alive inside their homes. You're going to need to pay $700 to clear that brush. Or else we're going to fine you and come after you legally. But at the same time, we are going to prop up $140 million so we can abort babies. Because that is what we prioritize in this beautiful state. Okay, guys? Why not give that $140 million to people who lost their homes, the people whose insurance just happened to cut out a month before the fires? How about all the Democrats are pretty quiet on the fact that they were complaining about the climate change. And then we found a guy who started the fires. We've seen multiple people that started those fires. Very quiet on that when it's not fitting their little, 15-minute city agenda. They did that shit in Maui? Don't forget. And then they came and did it here to the Palisades. So we have a fake student crisis in California. Community colleges tied to stolen identities and public funds.
Right now, over 90 colleges in California are dealing with fake students. Last year in California, 1.2 million fake students applied to community colleges. That was 30% of the applicants. While not all of these got in, some got away with financial aid from $2,000 to $5,000 per head. And it's estimated that about $11 million was given out. But the real numbers could be much, much higher, in hundreds of millions. 80% of community colleges in California are reporting this problem of fake students. The way it works is community colleges are applying these applicants without checking IDs in person. Once these students get in, they immediately apply for financial aid, and they manage to get the funds in bank accounts or prepaid card that can't be traced, and they do it before the deadline when professors drop them. A lot of students now cannot take their classes. At the same time, identities are stolen.
So important note on this. He said they weren't checking IDs in person. So first of all, I think it's crazy you can apply to college, get a loan, they'll give you money. And I also heard that a bunch of these people were like located in like Pakistan or something crazy. I'm like, so once again, a bunch of money funneling, whatever you want to call it, fraud happening through the colleges that the kids are coming out of and praising ISIS. So I don't really know how these are working anyways. But once again, this goes back to ID. They're not checking the IDs, kind of like in California, where apparently you don't need an ID for anything, including voting, which the Democrats will stop at any point in time because they know that that is the only way that Republicans are going to win an election here. And that is why that is the one thing they care about, and they will constantly campaign. It is racist because we know. Look at all the illegals. Look at, they got their licenses. They're crashing semis every day. They're voting in our elections. They're getting, $250,000 teaching jobs. And that is how they rig the elections here. So we have free healthcare for illegals in California. Fantastic.
We're in California right now, and illegal immigrants get free healthcare in California.
I don't believe it.
Would you like me to show you?
And they don't get free healthcare.
Would
They
you like
get
me to show you?
Medicaid, I mean, that's...
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah. They get Medicaid?
I think they do.
That's healthcare.
Yeah, that's healthcare, but I don't think it's free.
I don't understand what happened. Like, are these the women that didn't get married and didn't have kids? Because that's really the only thing I can think of. Also, did she say she was like a teacher and then she was like, well, they don't get health care, they get Medicaid? It's like, what do you think Medicaid is? I'm like, oh my God. I hate when they go out there and they do the signs and they have the cowbell. It's so annoying. Obviously, a lot of my friends do man on the street. I don't know how I feel about it personally. I feel like they would recognize me and I wouldn't be very safe. But you know what? We'll think about it. I would risk it for you guys. Trump is 4F, fraudulent felon. It's kind of funny to be like, Trump is a felon, but I want healthcare for illegals. It's funny to be like, no, he's a criminal, but I like those criminals. Do you think white women have some like weird, this might be too far, but sometimes I wonder, I'm like, do these like white women just have some like weird like gang like fantasies or something? Because like I just don't understand importing like millions of like military age men into our country from like the highest capitals in the world. That's like that's the only thing I can think of, because they're freaks. They're freaks, but that's also why they want the abortions as well. So if you think about it, everything's a little freaky and it goes hand in hand. So we have Newsom caught in a massive federal money laundering scheme. Shocking.
A massive investigation has uncovered that California may have committed major fraud against the US government by exploiting this complicated loophole that's allowed them to steal billions in federal taxpayer funds. One of the largest and most convoluted schemes in modern history has been discovered during a review of California's medical financial records. Investigators found that under Gavin Newsom's leadership, the Golden State has essentially been funneling taxpayer money from all across America to prop up California's own finances. The ingenious plan started in 2022, and it revolves around the complex concept of intergovernmental transfers, which in simple terms is when a local hospital or county makes a transfer to the state Medicaid agency for payments of medical services such as ambulance rides. After the transfers are made, the state can then request a matching amount of money from the federal government, but Newsom's California abused this system by raising the price of a simple ambulance ride by nearly 300%, and then once the local hospitals made the transfer to the states and the state received the matching funds from the federal government, they then instead paid a private ambulance service which cost only a fraction of the original price, pocketing the difference. But the thing is, this is all legal and the government must find a way to close this loophole.
Of course. They're like, and by the way, after all this fraud, it's also legal. So what are you going to do about it? I'm like, is this why he can afford his like third home? I'm like, this is insane. I'm sure they're like upcharging us 300% for an ambulance. Meanwhile, if you're an illegal or crackhead, I see the ambulances love to come take care of them every night. It's free for you. I'll end up paying for it. So we have the Mamdani. We just cannot stop talking about this guy every day, you guys. There's so much news. It's too much. We have Cuomo. He calls him out.
You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8.5 million lives. You don't know how to run a government. You don't know how to handle an emergency. And you've literally never proposed a bill on anything that you're not talking about in your campaign. You had the worst attendance record in the assembly. And you gave yourselves the highest raise in the United States of America.
Oh, the socialist gave himself a nice big raise. Why didn't he disperse that money? That's so interesting. It's almost like he's lying. First of all, I never thought I would be like, wow, Cuomo did an amazing job. I don't think a lot of us Republicans thought that would come out of our mouths. And he did a great job. He nailed it perfectly. He called him out. He's a wannabe socialist, but he's not. He's lying. His audience is very stupid. He knows that his audience, the liberals, just want free handouts. So what does he do? He campaigns on lies, and they're not smart enough to know he can't do this stuff. It's the same way where Biden was like, I'm going to forgive everyone's student loans. And how's that working out? Because people were dumb enough to vote thinking he was able to do that and going to do that, even though he didn't know where he was. And he's calling him out. He's like, look, regardless of how we feel about him, none of us are huge fans of him. He did a great job in this debate. He called him out. He's like, you haven't even had a job and you think you're going to run New York City? You are out of your mind. And he called him on the BS of being a socialist. So I'm like, that was fantastic. I would hope after seeing this, it would change people's opinions. But I hate to say it, you guys, I don't think it's going to. I think New York is cooked. I've been looking at the betting markets and it's not looking good. Mamdani recounts his aunt not wanting to wear a hijab after 9/11 because she was the real victim of all of this.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
You guys, you obviously, you know how I feel about these things. She, well, first of all, it's like, well, we don't, I'm an American. To downplay 9/11, where, what was it? That day, 3,000 people, the total of that from cancers and inhaling everything is astronomical. But I'm like, so all those people died, but the real victim was his aunt who didn't feel safe wearing a hijab. Yet no one felt safe around anyone wearing a hijab because your planes went into our Twin Towers and killed a bunch of us. And every time you guys walk in places yelling Allah Akbar, we know that we're all going to die. So that's really why we don't personally feel safe. This is a press conference or whatever you want to call it in the Bronx. This looks like it's like in Nigeria. I'm like, where do you even find these people to stand behind you to make it look like you're diverse? Like, do you look at that and you go, that's New York. Those are New Yorkers. I'm like, Jesus, no one wants New York to look like this. Yes, by the way, I've recently seen a lot of people in hijabs walking around, and I do not like it, and I do not feel safe. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry. You can go somewhere where people wear hijabs, and you can go live there. I don't like it. I think it's also a security issue. I mean, there was a woman in Beverly Hills who only had her eyes showing, and I was like, no. We don't do that here. I don't even think you should be allowed to wear a mask because you can get away with crimes. Nevertheless, that. And when I'm around you, I feel very nervous. When I walk by Earth Cafe, Al Akbar Cafe, I am terrified. That looks like a recruiting center to me, and it's not American, and it doesn't make us feel good. So we have Mamdani dining at an expensive New York City restaurant while he's living in a rent-stabilized house, you guys. So I was with my friends in New York eating at a nicer restaurant, and we pulled this up. And I asked them, and they were like, look, the place is, it's okay, but it's not that nice. I think they were blowing it out of proportion. But I was like, yeah, well, to the socialists, it's probably, somewhere they can't afford to go. But that's him and his hinge wife, and, they're eating out. And he has a rent-stabilized apartment. Bro, how do you have a rent-stabilized apartment when you're making, like, millions of dollars? And do you ever think that that's why the housing market is f***ed up? Because the person making all the money is in a rent-stabilized apartment, which you shouldn't qualify to be in whatsoever. So he was mocked for eating a burrito with a fork and knife, and then using his hands for rice. like a true hijabi. Yeah, no. Fork and knife for a burrito, playing the part. Oh, he's just one of us. He's just a New Yorker on a subway. And then he's using his hands to eat rice with a suit on. And I'm like, regardless of your culture, I'm sorry. That's disgusting. I mean, look, the fork and knife with a burrito on the subway makes sense because your hands are touching the subway, which is disgusting. But I'm just like, you guys, he's just playing the part here. I mean, that looks ridiculous. And eating with your fingers rice is disgusting. It's very un-American. It's very un-American. So CNN in 2010 have a clip on Obama's $376 million White House renovation funded by taxpayers compared to Trump's privately paying for his $250 million ballroom, which will be beautiful, I'm sure.
Sounds like you're building another wing to the White House, but we appreciate you keeping your focus.
You can't even imagine, TJ. It's going to happen for the next 2 years. All of the banging, the jackhammering, the dust, the confusion, the noise of all places to do construction is happening right here, the front lawn of the White House.
It's a 4-year renovation project. Estimated cost, $376 million.
Oh, well, that's different because it's for Obama. I was on Gutfeld and we were talking about this almost the whole time, kind of. And obviously the hypocrisy of it. And I'm like, you guys, first of all I cared about was, is this my money? Because as a Trump-loving Republican, I would say hell no. There is a list of 5 million things we need to accomplish, not this, okay? But then I found out it was like private donors. And I was like, oh, I don't give a shit at all. I don't care at all. And then you show liberals this and they're like, oh, well, like whatever. And apparently Obama was putting in like a basketball court to play with Mike or whatever he was doing back then. And it's like, I don't know, did Republicans really care back then? If it's not my money, I really don't care. It's just the hypocrisy of it. No matter what Trump does, they are having mental breakdowns and it's exhausting. Because if they actually saved those breakdowns for things they cared about, maybe it wouldn't be the boy who cried wolf constantly. But I'm like, who cares? They're losers. Tell them to shut up. Go put in, I don't know. Who cares? I would just make the White House safer. It's probably old and looks like shit. I don't know. I haven't been there. I'm open to the invite, though. Left-wing French politicians caught removing Rolex before denouncing the rich. Oh, you guys. Here we go.
National. Voilà, qu'on va suivre évidemment en direct. Rejet donc de la motion de censure de la France Insoumise. Il manquait 18 voix. Marie Chantrel.
Louis Boyard, député de la France Insoumise, Louis Boyard. Parce que dans le même temps, il y a des gens qui regardent ça de haut en souriant. C'est les ultra-riches. Là aussi, il est le cœur du problème. Quand on élabore un budget, on le fait sur de la réalité de la vie des gens.
Merci. He's French, so it doesn't matter. So I used to have to go to Paris to work when I worked in fashion. I would have to wholesale. And I despise French people. I don't think I like them. But I was so confused. I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, here's what I don't understand. When I would go to Paris for work, they were very gnarly. They were like, you need to speak French. If you don't, you are disgusting. You are insulting to our culture. We're not going to respond to you. In restaurants, they would say, ask for the bill in French or we won't give it to you. And I was like, well, I'm American. I'll just walk the out. I'm not doing this with you guys. And so I was like, wow, I kind of respected that they were so intense about protecting their culture. I do respect that. I feel the same way here. But they were so awful to the point where I was like, okay. But then I'm like, wait, how did we go from that to like you let in all these immigrants and now like Paris has like completely fallen? I was like, I don't understand how you went from like protect your culture on that level to like go ahead and take all of our culture away. But this video is giving the same exact energy as remember when all the Democrats were caught like hanging out backstage and then they would put their masks on and then go on stage to talk about the pandemic. It's the same energy. Also, don't you know you're on camera and people are watching you? And I'm just like, that is insane. He'll probably be the next person they vote in. They won't even, because you know what? They don't see this stuff. The only people who see these things are the people that don't need to see these things. And the people who need to see it, they'll never see it. That's the same thing with politics in the United States as well. The left-wing people are not watching stuff like this and calling out the hypocrisy. So, point of view, you're wearing a hijab in Paris. Okay, here's what upsets me about this is, okay, so you're upset that people, well, first of all, you're probably filming in public. Anytime people are like, why is everybody staring at me? I'm like, because you're literally doing something that attracts attention and you want attention. So you're filming all these white people and you're like, oh my God, they're staring at me. And I'm like, you are so lucky you are able to come somewhere, dress however you want, express yourself, and be able to freely walk around. Curious, if I went to one of the hijabi places in the world and I was walking around with a short, tight-fitted dress on and my long hair flowing and all this, would they be looking at me? Yes, they would. That's why the hypocrisy on this stuff is so annoying. It's like, well, at that point, you just want the attention. It must be nice to be going out and doing all these things. But I'm like, but yes, as a white woman, if I went there, not only would I be stared at, I would also probably in most parts be assaulted, imprisoned, or potentially killed. So yeah, I don't know. Is this like the victim thing? I've never seen a group of people on earth who can be so terrible, but continue to play the victim all the time. You're welcome for being able to be in Paris wearing a hijab. I mean, it is hijabi central now, but I'm like, oh God, the victim mentality of these people, it is truly exhausting. I know I come off as very, anti-Muslim, you guys, and that's because I am. So thank you for watching the show. We'll be back very soon. Make sure you like, subscribe, and let me know. I've been reading the comments, and I've been enjoying some of the things you say, and you guys make really good points. So feel free to leave your opinions, and we'll pick back up on the next episode. Love you guys.